Namaste. Welcome back to the Yoga Club. My name is Chintamani Cloud, and in today's practice, I'm going to be inviting our bodies into a vigorous flow sequence that's going to highlight some of the traditional elements of the yoga practice that sometimes get left behind in our Western flow. So we're really going to be talking about how to align the spine, using the deep internal abdominal muscles, and in general strengthening the whole body to create shapes and manifest our flexibility and achieve openness in the body. All of this is going to be done in a certain sequence that's going to prepare us for our back bends and our inversions towards the end of the practice. And if you don't have any experience with those, you can check out our workshop videos where I break down the back bend and inversions and then also offer modifications. But some of that's going to come up in today's practice as well. So you'll be able to get what you need even just from watching this practice today. If you got any yoga props, you can gather those, but definitely a good mat, some comfortable clothing, and let's get started. Namaste. In today's practice, we're going to be developing our flow sequence, incorporating back bends and inversions towards the end of the practice. So to warm up the body, we're going to start with our traditional sun salutations A and B, and we'll make our way towards the front edge of our mat. When we come into samastitihi, even and equal standing of right and left side of the body, we want to make sure that we take the traditional alignments with us. So throughout the practice, I'll be reminding us to tuck the tailbone under, to fully engage the glutes from top to bottom, to draw the ribs and navel in, but also the lower belly. And then as the shoulders engage in the shoulder girdle, we engage the pectorals too. Lengthening through the neck and the back of the head, we're ready to start. Inhale, first breath. Exhale, forward fold, second breath. Inhale to half lift, third breath. Exhale, back to plank position. Let's take an extra inhale here to realign the spine and exhale to lower down. Inhaling into your first back bend. Exhaling, passing back through plank as we lift up and back into downward facing dog. Remembering that our gaze point here is the navel. So we can start with looking back behind us between the feet on the floor, or maybe we'll lift the gaze up to the inner thighs or even towards the navel. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet, exhaling as we bend through the knees, and then walking or floating the feet forward. The feet will come up to meet the hands, and we can take an inhale breath. Hands can stay on the floor, lift to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up to standing, I turn my palms to face out to get the shoulders in position. Exhale, samastitihi. Surya Namaskar A again. Inhale, Ekam, first breath. Dwe, second breath. Trini, third breath. Exhale, plank position for fourth breath, and we're going to add an extra breath here. Take another inhale, and now we'll lower down as we exhale. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. And the traditional 5 breaths begin here. Gazing at the floor between the 2 feet, maybe lifting up towards the inner thighs, or maybe tucking the chin in and gazing at the navel as we draw in through the bandhas, closing up all the energy gateways that live along the spine and coming into our deep breathing. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet, exhaling as we bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. As the feet come out to meet the hands, we inhale to our half lift, exhale to our forward fold, and inhaling up to standing, and exhale, samastitihi. Getting a little bit more fuller into the expressions now. Inhaling, exhaling, second breath. Inhaling, third breath. Exhaling, fourth breath, right into chaturanga. Inhaling, fifth breath. Exhaling, sixth breath. This is where we do our long hold. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet. Exhaling as you bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. Inhaling to your half lift. Exhale to your full fold. Inhaling up to standing. Exhaling Samastitihi. Inhaling Ekam, first breath. Exhale Dve, second breath. Inhale, third breath. Exhale, fourth breath, trying to lower down. Inhaling, fifth breath. Passing back through plank and exhaling, sixth breath. Deepen sound breathing as we hold downward facing dog. Understanding that this posture is our first inversion. And we want to strengthen the shoulder girdle and the upper body to prepare us for our inversions later on. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet. Exhaling as we bend through the knees. Walking or floating the feet forward. Inhaling to our half lift. Exhaling to our full fold. And then inhaling up to standing. Exhaling Samastitihi. Coming into our Surya Namaskar B now. We start with chair position. Now, some yogis might be used to Western alignments. I'm going to be cueing the traditional alignment so the tailbone stays tucked under. We bend into the knees and we inhale into a flat back. If the hands can come together without the shoulders creeping up towards the ears, we do that. As we gaze up, draw the core in. Exhale, forward fold. Looking back behind you. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to plank to chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Now we're going to add an extra movement here. We're going to inhale the right leg up and back into the splits. Exhale, draw the thigh and the knee and the foot up in between the hands. We step the back foot in and we turn the toes out, inhaling to our first warrior one. Exhaling, lower down. Inhaling, back to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana, second side. We'll inhale, left leg up, straight back. Then draw the thigh and knee forward. The foot comes up in between the hands. I step the right foot in. Inhaling, warrior one, second side. Exhaling, lower down. Inhaling to our back bend. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. And this is where we hold. Maybe some of us will benefit from bending in the elbows a little bit so that we don't turn this into a stretch of the armpits. We're trying to draw the upper arm bones into the sockets. Engaging the shoulder girdle. One more breath. And we'll inhale onto the balls of the feet. Exhale as we bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale to full fold. Now we're going to bend it to the knees and try to come back into that chair position. So feel the tailbone tuck under first before lifting the arms up. Inhale here. Exhale, Samastitihi. We'll do that again, bending in the knees. Inhale. Exhale, second breath. Inhale, third breath. Exhale, fourth breath. Inhale, fifth breath. Exhale, sixth breath. Adding an extra movement here. Inhaling. Exhaling, seventh breath. Inhaling and exhaling. All the way down. Inhaling and exhaling. Second side. Inhale. Exhale. Foot forward up in between the hands. Inhaling, warrior one. Exhaling, chaturanga dandasana. So we find plank first. Lower down. Inhaling, hips are lifting. Only hands and feet are touching. Exhaling, back to downward facing dog. Calming the mind and coming back to the breath. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet. Exhaling as we bend through the knees, and then we can walk or float the feet forward. Inhale to your half lift. Exhale to your forward fold. And then bending in the knees, inhaling the arms up. Utkatasana, exhale, Samastitihi. And one more try, bending at the knees. Inhale, Ekam. Dwe, second breath. Inhale, Trini, third breath. Exhale, fourth breath. Inhale, fifth. Exhale, sixth. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, seventh breath. Inhale, 8. Exhale, 9. Inhale, 10. Exhale, 11. Inhaling. Exhale, 12. Inhale, 13. Exhale, 14. Inhale, 15. Exhale, 16. 5 deep breaths here. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet. Exhaling as we bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. Inhale, 17. Exhale, 18. And inhaling, 19. And that's the end of our sequence, Samastitihi. Rolling that out through some shoulder rolls. And deep breaths, staying in control of our breathing. We'll come back to Samastitihi, even and equal standing between the right and the left side of our body. Getting ready to move on in the sequence now. We're going to step our feet wide apart, and I'm going to bring my hands to my hips. Help to draw the shoulders back, tuck the tailbone under, draw the front side of the body in. Inhale, breath, deep forward fold, exhale, breath. Maybe the peace fingers come to the inside of the big toes. Thumbs to the outside. If not, we'll grab behind the calves or ankles. Wherever you are, take an inhale, breath, lengthen the spine, lift the sit bones up, exhale, keep lifting the sit bones up as you draw your chest in towards your legs and bring the crown of your head towards the floor. Deep breathing here. We'll use the 5th breath to inhale to release. And exhale, we're gonna lift the feet up and try to slide the hands underneath them. Take another inhale breath to realign and exhale to fold forward. If we tried to slide the hands and it doesn't work, we could stay with holding the sides of the feet, the ankles or the calves. Remembering to inhale to lengthen the spine and exhale to fold. We're trying to sandwich the chest to the legs. We're trying to lift the sit bones up towards the ceiling and get a deep stretch through the back side of the legs. 2 more breaths. And 1 more. Inhale to lift. Exhale to float hands to hips, engaging through the core. Inhaling, we lift. Exhale, we step the feet back together. Samastitihi. We're gonna get ready to open up for our triangle position now. So I'm gonna step my right foot out and face the screen and extend my arms out too. Then if you need to, bending into the right knee, pivot through the right heel, turn the right toes to face out. Take an inhale breath here. And as you exhale, we're gonna come forward and try to see if we can grab the big toe. Peace fingers on the inside of the big toe, thumb to the outside. If we need to start by having the hand at the ankle or the shin, that's okay too, as it'll help us bring the hips forward and pull the shoulders back. For those Ashtanga style practitioners getting ready for that traditional alignment, maybe you'll hold the big toe and then work on bringing the hips forward as you pull the shoulders back. And you'll feel a lot of activity happening through the torso. So I'm pulling right shoulder forward and bringing left shoulder back and taking some more deep breaths here. And 1 more. And then I'm gonna look down, bending into my right knee, inhale to lift up, and exhale to float hands to hips. Bending into right knee, pivoting through the right heel, we'll come into second side. Bending left knee, pivoting through left heel. Inhale the arms up if they're not already there. Exhaling, come forward, grabbing the big toe. Now I'm pulling my right hip back as I try to bring my left hip forward, and in the process, I'm also lifting my shoulders up to help bring my left shoulder forward and pull my right shoulder back. And I want to stay engaged through my bandhas so that I can avoid sliding around through the feet because I want to be engaging through the yogic points of the feet, in the heels, and in the toe knuckles. One more breath. And we can gaze down, bending the knee if you need to as we inhale to lift. And we're going to exhale to float hands to hips. So I'm going to bend into left knee, and all 10 toes are going to face the screen before our next posture. Bending into the right knee, turning the right toes out. Now I'm going to turn and face in the direction of the right toes so that my hips are squaring. Traditionally, the toes are actually open for our revolved triangle, but if you're newer to this alignment, I'll invite you to allow the toes to face more forward so that you can square the hips off. We're going to inhale the left arm up, drawing through the bandhas. Exhale, lean forward, and we try to make a twist, bringing the left hand to the outside of the right foot. If you need a block, a folded towel or a blanket, you can use that as you develop this practice. We want to pull the right hip back as we pull the right shoulder back. We're simultaneously pushing in the left hand to bring the left shoulder forward, and that's what helps create the twist from the middle of the spine so that there's freedom in the shoulders for the right arm to lift. And we can gaze up too. We want to zip up through the bandhas, engaging all the energy centers or closing all the energy gateways that live along the spine. One more inhale here, and then we can exhale to release the right hand, and we can inhale arms up to hips, and exhale as we come forward again. And I'm playing with the traditional breath. We'll be developing that over sequences. Bending into the left knee, we're going to turn those left toes, and now we're going to step the right foot so that the right toes are on a diagonal and both hips are facing the same direction. Right arm lifts, we zip up our bandhas, so I'm engaging the muscles that live along the spine. Inhaling here, exhaling. Maybe we come towards the floor, or we come towards a block. We try to pull the left hip back and right hip forward. I bring the right shoulder forward, pushing into my right hand, and that helps create the space to lift my left shoulder and hand up. I'm drawing in through the core, creating a deep twist. Deep in sound breathing. And traditionally, maybe you bend a little bit in the left knee, but see if you can inhale to lift both arms up and spiral out of the pose, and exhale, hands to hips. Then I'm going to bend into the left knee, pivot through the left foot, step the right foot forward up to meet the left. Coming back towards the front edge of the mat. Moving through the shoulders if you need to. Getting ready for our next set. We're going to bring our hands to hips, bend into the knees, step the right foot out, let the left toes follow. We'll pivot once again, bending through the right knee, right toes are turning, left toes are facing open. We're getting ready for extended side angle. So we inhale our arms up. We're going to exhale, bend into the knee, and start to come forward. Now, a block can help some folks who are still new at this practice come into this without any pain in the shoulders or hips. And I'm going to demo that one more time. So with or without the block, our arms are extended, we bend into the knee. It's like we're passing through warrior two. Now I'm trying to bring my palm to the outside of the foot, turning my right on the right side. On the left side, I'm turning my palm to face up, pulling the shoulder back too. And as I engage through the core, I'm able to move my arm without my shoulder moving. One more breath here. Now let's inhale to lift all the way up to a star. Exhale, hands to hips. We'll come into our second side. So we bend into the right knee, we pivot through the heel. Now through that left side, we inhale our arms up and we exhale, bending into the knee. It's like we're passing right through warrior two. As my hand comes to the floor or the block, I'm going to engage my core, pull my right shoulder back, and extend my arm forward. Inhaling, we're going to lift all the way up with the straightened left leg, and exhale, hands to hips. Now we're going to try the revolve position. Bending into the left knee to turn those left toes. We bend into the right knee to pivot through the right heel. Now I need to lift my left foot and do that same movement. This is a bit of a modification to help us square the hips off, getting ready for the revolve pose. I'm also going to invite us to lower that left knee down to start. If you don't need this modification, feel free to come right into it. We'll inhale, left arm up, and we're going to exhale to twist, extend the left arm, and we're going to try to come to the floor on the outside of that left foot. And sometimes I take my right hand to my right thigh to help lift into the twist and lower my arm. Then I'm going to try to straighten out my left leg and come into the revolve position. Deep breathing here. We're going to try to return the right arm. Inhale the left arm up and exhale hands to hips. We'll do that on our second side. We bend into the left knee and I move my left toes out. I'm going to bring my right knee towards the floor. This is going to help square my hips off. We inhale, right arm up. We exhale, we twist to the left. We bend into the left knee. We extend forward. Now my hand is able to come to the outside of my left foot. The only thing is my core is not engaged. So I'm going to hold my leg and lift my chest off of my left leg, and that helped me get the room. Extend through the right leg and find the position with the left arm. Deepen the sound breathing here. This is not an easy one. Inhale to lift and exhale to bring the hands to hips. We bend into the left knee and the right. Pivot through the heels and step the feet together, coming into some shoulder rolls to open up the body. And then we'll bring our hands to hips. We'll step our right foot out and we're going to get ready for a wide-legged forward fold sequence. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands come down to the floor in front of us. We take an inhale breath to straighten out the arms and we exhale to come into our forward fold position. So I'm trying to bring my head towards the floor while lifting my sit bones up to the ceiling. So I'm not trying to round the spine, and I'm adding to that alignment by pushing into my hands while they're in a tripod position here. Then I'm going to walk my hands forward. I never change the angle of my fingers. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, float the hands to hips, and then we'll inhale up to standing. And exhale to roll the shoulders back. We take an inhale breath, draw through the core, exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, we zip up our bandhas. Exhale, just the core is gonna be used here to create that alignment now, no arms. So I gotta find the muscles in my body to lift my sit bones this way, drawing them up and bringing my spine, using my core to bring my head towards the floor. 2 more breaths here. And we're gonna inhale on 1 breath to lift up, bending in the knees if you need to. Exhale as we roll the shoulders back. Then we're gonna inhale back into our star shape. We're gonna exhale the hands back behind us to interlace the fingers. Now, if you need to bring the palms together to get the clasp, that's great, but now we wanna keep the fingers locked and widen the palms apart. Engage through the triceps, the deltoids. Pull the shoulders back. We don't want them rolled forward. We want them squeezing towards the spine. And now on our inhale, we're not lifting the chin. We're rather tucking it in, drawing in through the bandhas. And as we exhale, we continue to tuck and draw in through the bandhas as we start to bring the crown of the head towards the floor. And we try to bring the arms down towards the floor in front of us. It's okay if we're still here with the head lifted. Some of us might even benefit from bringing the head onto a block and using that to anchor your movement as you pull your arms down. Staying for 2 more breaths wherever you are, getting to a place where we're trying to bring the head down and the arms too. And then on one inhale, maybe you bend the knees if you need to, we're gonna engage the core and inhale all the way up. Exhaling, hands to hips. And there's 1 more in this sequence. We inhale our arms out as we draw in through the core. We're gonna exhale into a forward fold, and we're gonna try to bring our peace fingers around those big toes again. We can always grab the sides of the feet or the ankles or calves if we need to. Take an inhale here, tuck the chin in, lengthen through the spine, exhale. You see how the arms participate in creating our fold and helping us find our core strength to create this shape. Deep breathing for 2 more breaths. And then we'll inhale to straighten the arms and flatten the back. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale to our standing position, bending and pivoting. We step the feet together. We roll the shoulders back and we find Samastitihi. If you need to shake that out though, that's okay too. Okay, and we're gonna come back into a sun salutation. We're gonna do a nice long hold with our warriors now. So we're gonna inhale our arms up, exhale, dive forward. Inhale to our half lift. Exhale back to plank position and lower down. Inhale to our back bend. Exhale to Samastitihi. We're gonna bend into the knees. Inhale onto the balls of the feet, bend into the knees. Exhale, walk or hop the feet forward. Now we'll bend into the knees and inhale, chair pose for 5 breaths. Widening the arms apart if you need to. On the 5th breath, we're straighten out the legs and dive forward. Inhale to our half lift. Exhale to our chaturanga. Inhale to our back bend. And exhale back to our downward facing dog. And now we can try a traditional alignment if you'd like to, where you actually just step the left foot forward. The traditional alignment is that the toes actually open out quite a bit, but to modify it, you can have your foot more of a gentle diagonal. And then we're gonna try to step the right foot forward up in between the hands and inhale to our warrior 1 for 5 breaths. Traditionally, the gaze is actually lifted and the hands are together with the shoulders widening apart. Now I'm gonna inhale to straighten out my right leg. Traditionally, we keep the arms lifted and exhale as I pivot towards the second side. So to break that down slowly, we're gonna straighten out the legs. If you need to, you can even bring your hands down to your hips. Bending into right knee, right toes turn. Bending into left knee, left toes turn. Now, you can step your right foot to make sure that your hips are squared more forward. Traditionally, the hips are trying to square as the right toes are all the way turned out, but I'll say modify it on a gentle diagonal. Take an inhale and exhale. 5 deep breaths here. Now we're gonna come into warrior 2. Take an inhale and exhale. If your toes aren't open, you need to pivot through that right heel and open the toes out. And this is where you wanna really feel your right arm pull back so that your shoulders are on the same plane. We wanna engage down the arms into the fingers, and then we wanna have a nice neck stretch as we just tilt the head to gaze out over those left fingers. Tucking the tailbone under, drawing the ribs and navel in for 1 more breath. And we inhale to straighten out the left leg, and exhale as we pivot. Inhale here, and exhale into our second side. After our 5th breath, maybe use the inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, we'll windmill the arms down to frame the right foot. I lift off of my left heel, inhale back to plank. Exhale through chaturanga. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're gonna inhale onto the balls of the feet. Exhale as we bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. Feet come up to meet the hands. We'll take an inhale to our half lift and exhale to our forward fold. And we're gonna windmill the arms up to inhale to standing. And exhale, Samastitihi. So I've been trying to stay really true to the way the primary sequence is instructed. But I did add in a few extra breaths and break things down a little bit. And so this part of the sequence wasn't done exactly as it's done traditionally, but it was very near to it. We're gonna get ready for 1 more standing pose before we come towards the floor. And the reason why I'm qualifying this is also because it's a little challenging. We're gonna be doing a standing balancing posture on 1 leg. So Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana is the Sanskrit, where we're extending an arm and a leg and bringing the big toe and the hand together. So traditionally, I'll mirror for this set. We'll start on our right side first. You're gonna ground down through, we're gonna start on our right side first. We're gonna ground down through the left leg, and we're gonna try to lift the right foot up and by bending at the right knee. This is a trend in the traditional alignment where we use the big peace fingers to come in towards the big toe and the thumb to come to the outside. And we're trying to stand up nice and tall once we grip the toe and find our alignment, lengthening and strengthening the standing balancing leg. We're trying to extend this foot forward. Then we take a nice inhale breath here, and we're actually trying to come into a standing forward position with the leg lifting as tall as it can and the core engaging as we try to bring the head towards the leg. Wherever you are, just breathe into it for one more breath. It's okay if the leg's still bent. Now we're gonna inhale to lift, and then exhale, we're gonna open the leg out to the side. And now I need to pull my left shoulder back as my right foot comes out to the side, and maybe I can take my gaze out over my left shoulder. Counterbalance can be achieved maybe with an extended arm. In time, we're trying to keep the hand at the hip. We're aiming for 5 deep breaths here. Drawing through the core and the glutes still, the outer hips too. Let's inhale to straighten out the right leg back forward. And it's one more breath. Exhale, forehead to leg. Inhale to straighten up. And now we try to release for 5 deep breaths, wherever you are. One more inhale. And exhale to release. We can shake that out. Massaging the quadriceps if you need to, if they're tight like mine. Many of us who do other yoga will find that our Western alignments really tighten up our quadriceps and the front side of our hips, so that pose challenges us the most in that element. For me, it was really burning my quads. So second side, Samastitihi, shoulders are lifting up and back. We're grounding through the right foot, left foot lifts. We find the ankle or the big toe or the side of the foot. We take an inhale breath here and exhale to straighten out the leg. Another inhale breath and exhale into your forward fold for 4 more breaths. Inhale to lift. And now we're going to exhale to open out to the side. And we need to pull this right shoulder back. We need to draw in through the outer hip and the glute here, the core too. Maybe take your gaze out over towards that right side. And now we're going to inhale to center. Exhale 1 breath. Inhale to lift. And now exhale to let go of the foot. You can do this with a bent leg. We try to extend the leg, both the base leg and this lifted leg. 1 more breath and release. And we can shake that out. So traditionally, there's a standing hip opener. I'm going to have us come to the floor though at this time, and we'll be adding on to the sequence in coming weeks. But we'll come back towards the front edge of our mat, and we're going to use a sun salutation to come towards the floor. So we stand up nice and tall, inhaling, exhaling. Inhale to our half lift, exhaling back to plank position, and exhaling lower down. Inhaling into your lift and exhaling back to downward facing dog. And then we're going to exhale down to the hands and knees. Get ready for our transitioning to our floor sequence. From our tabletop position, we're going to get ready to transition towards the floor through some cat-cow tilts of the spine. So on an inhale, I'm going to look up and lift my chin up and widen my sit bones apart. And as I exhale, I'm going to tuck my tailbone and draw my hips and chin together. We inhale to lift and open. Exhale to tuck. Pushing into hands and knees to draw the middle of the spine up towards the ceiling. And 1 more set. And exhale. Now I'm going to walk my knees up towards my hands and sit back down onto my heels. And I'm going to get ready to bring my feet forward for a seated forward fold position. And we can do that in 2 ways. One way, we can use our hands, and we're going to bring our hands maybe in line around where our knees are. And as we push into them, we're going to engage through the core, push into the feet, and then from our tippy toes, we're going to try to now walk our feet forward so that we sit down and then bring our legs forward. And you can shake them out in front of you. And one other option could be just from this position, bringing hands to one side, letting hips follow, and spiraling the legs forward. Meeting in staff position. We're going to roll those shoulders back, widen them apart, draw in through our bandhas, and staring at the tip of the nose, we pull the toes back, engage through the legs, and deep breathe. Now we're gonna bring our hands, peace fingers to the inside of the big toes, thumbs to the outside. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Exhaling, forward fold. 5 deep breaths here. Trying to engage the legs, and this is the hard part, to try to engage the quadriceps as we open the hamstrings. Trying to engage the core to lengthen the spine along the legs. 2 more breaths. We're gonna inhale to lift and exhale to release, and we're gonna try to do a vinyasa. So from here, we're gonna try to bring the feet in, and now we're gonna do this in 2 ways. We can either push into our hands here and step our feet through, then our knees will come down, we'll walk our hands forward, and here we are in plank position. And another way we can start off the practice is not bringing the feet all the way through, but rolling over into plank position. It doesn't fulfill the core as much, so I recommend the first way. But still, if you need a modification, you can use the knees if you need to. Otherwise, exhale, lower down. Inhaling into our back bend, exhaling back to downward facing dog. Now we're gonna try our transition from downward dog. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet, exhaling as we bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. And we're gonna try to sit down and extend the legs forward and shake them out. We wanna do a little bit of hip opening before we come into our back bend. So getting ready now to try to draw the right foot in. We're gonna open the right knee out. And we're gonna try to open the foot away from the thigh. Then we're gonna pull the right hip back forward, square the shoulders off, take an inhale breath here, and we're gonna see if we can exhale, and you can grab the toes, the foot, the ankle, or if you can get around the foot to a clasp, and deep breathe here. Inhaling to our half lift, exhaling to release. We'll inhale the foot up, exhale, we extend the leg. We're gonna draw both feet in. This is gonna be a core strengthener right here. We're gonna push into our hands and try to lift our hips up. If you can lift the feet up too, that's great. We're gonna re-extend the legs and do Janu Sirsasana, A on second side. Left knee bends, left knee opens, and we try to widen the foot away from the thigh. We're squaring the hips and shoulders off. We take an inhale, and we exhale into our position. Inhale to our half lift, exhale to release. You can extend the leg, then we could fold both feet in, try to lift the hips off the ground, draw them back down, extend the legs out, and shake them out with some shoulder rolls. Now we're gonna come into our butterfly position. We're gonna draw the soles of the feet together and widen the knees apart. If you wanna bring the hands back behind you to assist in your alignment, then we're gonna bring the hands forward and we're gonna use our core instead. So I'm drawing my ribs and navel in, and I'm using my upper shoulders, the tops of my shoulder muscles, and they're round and all around my shoulder muscles to help draw my shoulders wide apart and back behind me. Pulling on the feet to help open them up, but also this pull is gonna help me come forward. We take an inhale breath, and we're gonna exhale. Trying to stay long through the spine, and in time, we're trying to sandwich the chest to the feet and bring the forehead or the nose, in time the chin even, to the floor in front of us. Deep breathing here. Inhale to lift up. And now we're gonna exhale and try to bring the head towards the toes. Maybe it's just the forehead for now or the nose. Now we're gonna inhale to lift up, exhale to roll the shoulders back, inhale to draw the knees in, and we're gonna try to do a vinyasa from here. So if you want to, hands on the floor, you use that to bring the feet back behind you. You can use the knees if you need to, or you could float right back with the feet into plank. Take an inhale, exhale, inhaling, and exhaling. And getting ready to transition. Inhaling onto the balls of the feet, exhale as you bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. Feet come up to meet the hands. I shoot my hands back to catch myself, and then extend my legs forward. Now I'm gonna widen the feet apart. Bring my hands forward. I want to avoid this position. I almost always naturally do it myself, but we want to tuck the tailbone under and draw the core in. Maybe your feet then don't come as far apart. We want them to be nice and engaged. We'll take an inhale here, and we're going to try to grab the big toes as we exhale. Another inhale breath here, and exhale forward. We can always do this the traditional, or excuse me, the Western way, where we walk our hands forward instead and try to bring the chest down. Traditionally, we're grabbing the big toes, lengthening the spine, engaging the core, and then releasing the chest down. If you haven't lifted out yet, we'll inhale to lift and exhale to release. We're going to draw the cross at the legs, push down into the feet and hands, and try to lift in, engaging into the core, and release. And we'll go ahead and shake that out. Now we're going to get ready to lay onto our backs. But we'll do one more core exercise before we get to lay on our backs. So we're gonna walk our glutes forward and get ready for boat. We're bringing the knees in together. We're engaging the legs. Now first modification could be bringing hands back behind you, leaning back and lifting feet up into this boat position. If we wanna do it with the hands off of the floor, we bring the hands behind the legs, coming into a balanced position on the sit bones. I engage the core and try to float my legs up. Maybe I float my arms too. Now we're going to lower the legs while we bring the arms forward and totally release down towards the floor. Traditionally, we do our boat position 3 to 5 times. And in future flow sequences, we'll be adding on to that. From here, we're going to bend at the knees and bring the soles of the feet towards the floor, doing a modified bridge position. So first, I'm going to turn my palms to face up to roll my shoulders back, and then trying to keep my shoulders rolled back, I'm going to try to move just my arms. And now I can push into the floor, tuck the tailbone under, my hips, my hamstrings engage, my glutes engage, and I lift up. This is a Western style bridge. And we'll be incorporating a more traditional Indian style bridge in future videos. For today, I'm inviting us into this more Western style. Trying to engage the core, engage the glutes and hamstrings, push into the hands and feet. Chin is lifting away from chest, and chest is lifting into chin. So the neck is lengthening along the floor for one more breath. And then we're going to exhale to release. We're going to lift the feet off the floor. We're going to draw the knees into the chest. Now I lifted my head off the floor. This is also to help lengthen my neck and spine. Now I'm going to return my head towards the floor, push my neck into the floor, and try to squeeze my knees into my chest. And then from here, getting ready for our next back bend position. I'm bringing the soles of the feet towards the floor. I'm widening my feet about hips distance apart. And I'm starting with the awareness of my shoulders, widening apart and pushing into the floor. And now I'm trying to move my arms without moving my shoulders. I'm going to try to do that again now. We've created a video that breaks down this back bend experience in a shorter version. So hopefully you've already practiced that and are ready for this back bend now. If you need to modify or not do this back bend, please feel free to incorporate that. I'm going to be cueing us through the traditional wheel position. So I'm trying to keep my shoulders grounded, and I'm trying to move my arms back and now pointing my fingers away from me. I'm going to get ready to push equally through my arms and my feet, just like bridge pose. I'm going to do that same thing with my tailbone and simultaneously push into my arms to bring the top of my head towards the floor. And I don't want any weight in the head here, but you can use this as a moment to pause. Squeeze the glutes, engage through the core, and then try to straighten out the arms and the legs. You're trying to imagine looking at the floor between the palms and deep breathing. In and out through the nose if we can. Engaging through the glutes, engaging through the core, even in the back bend for one more breath. I'm going to tuck my chin up and let go slowly and coming out just like I was in a bridge position. And now I'm pushing my middle back, lower back, and upper back into the floor to realign, releasing my arms, lifting my feet off the floor, and drawing my knees in. Maybe you lift out of alignment for a moment, And then try back to come back to realigning the spine and drawing those knees in. We're going to move on to our inversion elements now. Maybe a little bit of rolling in the spine to massage the lower back here. We can even sneak in a happy baby if you'd like to. So trying to grip the feet, bending at the knees, coming into our happy baby. You can take your inversion in a really gentle way if you're still working on it. If you've been following along and you've seen our inversion video and you're ready to try to follow along in this inversion and closing sequence, feel welcome to. So I'm just extending my legs up, getting ready here. And now I'm going to bring my feet back towards the floor. And in this position, I'm getting ready for a shoulder stand position. So some of us might be doing this with modifications, and I'm going to come into a mostly full expression of the pose using my arms for support, as the name Shalamba Sarvangasana invites us to. So I'm going to lift the feet off of the floor, going to lift the hips off the floor as the feet come back, and then I'm going to put my hands to my lower back and try to squeeze my elbows to help pull my shoulders into alignment. And if you need to be skin to skin, that's okay too. You're going to try to use your hands to support your spine lengthening and your feet lifting up to the ceiling. And the challenge here is going to be lifting through the abdominals to lift the hips up and the feet up to the ceiling, but then engaging through the neck muscles and the head muscles to pull the chin away from the chest so that I can still be speaking and breathing clearly as I'm in this shape. And we'll aim for 3 more breaths here. Traditionally, we're gazing at the navel, trying to stay engaged through the glutes. And next shape, we're trying to make our plow position. So still lengthening through the neck and head to pull the chin away from the chest. I try to bring my feet towards the floor behind me now. And I'm still trying to bring these hips up, and that's something we're all going to work on. And now I'm going to try to interlace my fingers and come into a nice opening, pushing into my forearms and my wrists to help lift my hips up. Gives me a deep shoulder stretch and a deep stretch along the inseam of the upper back and neck. Deep breathing here. If you want to try the next shape, we bend at the knees, we don't change the arms, and in time we're trying to sandwich the head with the inner knees. Even covering the ears someday. And then we're going to straighten out our legs. And for today's inversion sequence, we're going to try to come back into shoulder stand. Maybe lifting one leg at a time, supporting with the hands. Taking an inhale breath here. We're going to bend at the knees. Use our hands to support us. I'm going to draw my knees in and release my glutes towards the floor and bring my feet down. From here, I'm going to cross at my legs, grab my hips, use my elbows to become a prop. There's a back bend here. It's a nice counter stretch. We've released the head back. This is a modified position. We tuck the chin back in, we unfurl, and we let the shoulders come back towards the floor. I'm going to uncross the legs. And then from here, there's traditionally a vinyasa, so I'm going to invite us to come into a plow position and then roll forward, tucking the feet back and stepping into plank position, using the knees if we need to. We'll take an inhale here. We'll exhale to lower down. Inhaling, rolling the shoulders back. Exhaling, passing back through plank as we lift the sit bones up and back into downward dog. Now getting ready for our next inversion. It's our headstand. I knew I was saying it wrong. And we're gonna have we have our double inversion videos, modifying and trying to come into shoulder stand, and the same for our headstand. So hopefully you've seen those. And if not, please check them out before just trying this for the first time. This is intended for folks who have already have a headstand practice, especially when we're doing it in the middle of the room without a wall. So I'm checking on my elbows, the positioning. I'm bringing fingertips of opposite hands to opposite elbows. Then I'm extending my arms forward, interlacing my fingers, grabbing the back of my head, and trying to bring the top of my head towards the floor. And then I'm going to straighten out my legs, walking my toes in as much as I can. Some of us will stay right here. Some of us will lift one at a time, tucking in the knees so that the core engages. So you try to bring the thigh in this way. And then the second one. And then trying to lift the knees up and then straighten the legs out. Now I need to really squeeze those glutes and find the core. And in that demo, because I don't usually come into the pose that way myself, I lost a little bit of my shoulder girdle. So really need to find it. Ideally, there's no weight of the head into the floor. So right now I can feel my head pushing into my fingers, but not the ground, and I'm trying to lift, pushing into my hands, my wrists, my elbows. And traditionally, we stay here for quite a few breaths. I'm gonna invite us to release for today, drawing those thighs in, trying to extend the legs, and then we'll bend at the knees, and we'll come into a child's pose. Forehead towards the floor or a block, arms back behind us, and we'll take 5 deep breaths here. Now, to come out of this pose, we're going to take a vinyasa. I'm going to extend my arms forward. Inhale to tabletop, exhale to plank. Take an inhale here to engage through the spine. Exhale, lower down. Inhaling into our back bend. Exhaling into downward facing dog. Now we're coming into our closing sequence. We can do a jump through or step forward. So walking or floating the feet forward. The hands will come back behind me so that when I sit down, I can support myself. And then from here, we're gonna do some deep hip opening. So if we've got a full lotus practice, that's the intention here of closing sequence. Otherwise, we're gonna do 2 sets. One with right leg on top for half lotus, and one with left leg on top. So I'll try to mirror you now. So bringing right leg first, heel up to the hip, and opening the foot out. And that's what's gonna help bring the knee down. And then we're gonna bring our right hand back behind us and try to grab those right toes. This is for our first set. We're gonna bring our left hand back behind us and just pause here. If you have a full lotus, you would be grabbing those toes. We can also not grab the toes, but just grab the opposite elbows. And if you're in half lotus, that's actually what I'm gonna recommend. We're gonna take an inhale breath here, and we're gonna exhale into a forward fold for 5 deep breaths. Inhale to lift, and exhale to release. And then we're gonna switch legs. So now left leg is gonna come on top. We bring our hands back behind us, interlace the opposite elbows, shoulders are pulling back, core draws in. We take an inhale, and now we come forward for 5 deep breaths, exhale. And then we're gonna go ahead and inhale to lift, and exhale to release. If you'd like to come into a full lotus position and you have it, feel welcome to. Traditionally, it's right leg first, then left leg. If you don't have full lotus yet, then I'm gonna recommend us doing this from cross-legged position. And then you may benefit from having blocks on your sides at this stage, but I guess to build the strength, we can also do it without blocks, and we're gonna aim for Utplutihi. So with blocks, it would look like this, and we could do it with full lotus or cross-legged position. And then if we're pushing into our hands, and we're trying to get a place of lifting the feet as well as those hips off the floor, and that's where the blocks can help. And we're gonna aim for 5 breaths in this position. So I'm gonna be doing it with full lotus now, lifting the knees. This is helping draw the core in, lifting into the hands, 5 deep breaths. And we're gonna exhale to release. Okay, that's the end of our sequence. We'll do one more vinyasa before our shavasana. So traditionally we can do it from our lotus position. I'm gonna demo it from uncrossing the legs, bringing the feet back behind me. We can use the knees. I'm doing the knees definitely because I didn't have enough room to shoot my legs back. Or you try to shoot your legs back. We take an inhale here. We exhale to release. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to inhale onto the balls of the feet. Exhale as we bend through the knees, walking or floating the feet forward. Inhaling to our half lift, exhaling to our full fold, and inhaling up to standing, and exhaling samasthitihi. And we'll do one more vinyasa. Inhale, exhale to our shavasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling, exhaling. And now we'll come into a resting posture of your choice. Traditionally, many yogis turn around for their shavasana so that their feet are not facing the front of the yoga practice space. And that's why I turned around, and now we can come into shavasana. Traditional style shavasana, or maybe more of a yin style practice, coming into a relaxing shape so that you can take some cleansing breaths to restore with the eyes closed and fully relaxing all the muscles in the body, even the breath. Please stay here as long as you need to. And I hope you'll have a great rest of your day. Namaste.